Hey guys and girls, it's me, the Rocket, and yes, I'm finally back to doing some movie reviews again. Starting off with Bill and Ted Face the Music. So of course, without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's cue the intro. Ready for liftoff, super Daniel Rocket. Ready for liftoff, super Daniel Rocket. He's ready to go to review movies and shows and other stuff too. And sometimes the lack of food and our fantasy that really gets crazy between the skits as well as the short films because he's super Daniel Rocket. Get ready for it. So Bill and Ted. I have watched the original Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure a while back on my television, and I was aware of this third entry in this franchise even since before the trailer came out for it. And I thought it was a very interesting idea for having that kind of movie have a sequel here in 2020 in the modern age. Because if you can clearly see from the original movies, Excellent Adventure, and of course also the sequel, Bo's Journey, they do fit more well in the past rather than modern day. It doesn't really work nowadays, but it is pretty interesting to see considering now they're grown up and all that. And of course, again, it's in the modern age. It's very different than how it was back then. So it could have been interesting, especially since they actually retained the personalities of the characters. They didn't change it or whatnot, because usually when it comes to characters becoming older, they usually alter their character, make them more wiser or whatnot to make it fit with their new age. But they didn't really do it with Bill and Ted. They're still kind of the same characters as we know them from the previous two films, which is not a bad thing at all because it does seem to make it a bit more interesting to see these kind of characters adjust to this new modern lifestyle. Although they don't do anything crazy interesting with this idea. I mean, there's some bits and pieces of it throughout the movie, which is nice because I kind of feel like it's necessary, especially what you're trying to do here. But I kind of feel like mostly the reason why they did this is because, of course, it's an iconic thing that the previous two films have. Of course, people remember those films for those iconic lines coming out from those personalities. So of course you gotta have them in this third film to make it fit with the rest of the movies. But it is kind of weird having those personalities coming out from the mouths of the grown-up actors of Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves. I mean, Alex Winter did a good job. I feel like he does sound mostly like his younger counterpart, but Keanu Reeves does sound a bit weird, especially since he has a deeper voice now. Sometimes it does feel like it's just John Wick doing a Ted impression. But I kind of feel like Ted's daughter did a better impression of him than Ted himself. And yes, Bill and Ted have daughters now, and they kind of do have the same personalities as their fathers. I kind of feel like it's a kind of a parody of what people are doing nowadays with franchises. Like it's a brand new era of the series with a brand new character. Although in reality it's just the same kind of characteristics of the previous character, it's just that now there's a different face. So I kind of feel like they're kind of doing the same thing here, but it's more obvious to make it like a parody, which is really fun. And the daughters actually have an adventure of their own. There's kind of like two adventures going on at the same time, or should I say excellent adventures. One thing I found interesting about these two excellent adventures going at the same time is that they both use a different type of time travel. Which is something that I analyze in different types of media, where of course the one type of time travel includes that the main character goes back in time to affect his life or the characters around him. Examples of this includes Avengers Endgame and Back to the Future. A different type of time travel is where they use time travel to go to just iconic historical places like ancient Egypt or ancient Japan or ancient China, which is something the first Bill and Ted movie kind of used. Of course, they go back in time to do their school project and whatnot. And of course, I guess another example I can think of as of right now is Crash Bandicoot Warp. That's literally the only thing that's come to mind right now. But this third entry does both types of time travel. Bill and Ted uses the defecting lives thing, and their daughters use the whole going to different historical places. Well, not really go historical places in this case. In this case, it's just more that time travel to go meet, iconic musicians. So it's pretty interesting. But I feel like Bill and Ted's story is a lot more interesting in this case. right now in this movie, Bill and Ted are trying to find a way to, find the music that unites the world. And it's a very interesting idea to go for that in this third entry. Of course, we know in the first movie that they are destined to create the music that unite the world, and the people from the future are trying to help them stay united to make that music happen in the future. But of course, now that we're really in the future, I guess, I mean, we're in the modern age, they still haven't think of that music that unites the world. You get to see them struggle to try to find it, which is an interesting idea to do for the third entry. And yeah, I feel like they did a pretty good job of finding a way to conclude it with saying that, oh, it's not the music that unite the world, it's people playing the music together, as you can see in the ending, which is nice. I feel that's a nice way to conclude the this, I guess, trilogy of movies now. I mean, technically the second movie kind of stated that the music that it played at the end is kind of the music that unite the world. But of course now that's retcon. And I feel like now it's a bit more satisfying because you get to see like the planets align as Rufus said in the first film. So it's much more of a more satisfying conclusion. I think they wrapped up really well. And I don't think there's going to be a fourth one. I think this is the end, especially how they ended up, how they just ended abruptly. Kind of feel like at that point in the future that we are seeing in the past few movies happen. So I guess that's what they're trying to go for. And there's one more thing that I want to comment on. It's very minor, but it's a bit weird to see. It's just that the CG in this film is not that great. It kind of looks very cheap. But I guess it does kind of work in this kind of film. It's just Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I mean, Bill and Ted's Face the Music. I don't think it really needs that kind of big budget CG. So I guess it's fine. But it is kind of odd to see. So I guess that's it for my review. Overall, again, it's a pretty great movie. I do really like this. It's a nice way to conclude this whole Bill and Ted saga, I guess you can say. Of course, you get to see what everybody was trying to imagine in the previous two films. What Rufus said in the first film, with all the plans aligned. I guess a lot of fans of Bill and Ted are satisfied with the ending we got in this film. So yeah, I really liked it. It's a bit weird that it's called Face the Music, by the way. I mean, it's a fitting title, but it does feel a bit off considering how they named the first two films, Excellent Adventure, Bogus Journey. I don't know, there's still words that you can use, maybe like Radical Escapade or something. So yeah, but still, again, great movie. So with that said, alright guys and gals, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, it feels crazy to be back in this whole general review structure again after so long. It's gonna take some time for me to adjust to it again, but soon enough, it will be totally normal for me in a few days or just a week or something like that, I guess. But yeah, I thought it'd be fitting to review this movie first because this was technically the first movie I watched in the cinema since the Sonic the Hedgehog movie back in February. So I thought it would be nice to review this first. But I have another review planned. I already have it in my mind. And let's just say that this is the last time we're going to be dealing with time travel. So until then, rock it on. And this computer is also want to rock it on too.